Good morning. I am Day. I am in recovery from loss, grief, trauma, and addiction. In my years of actively pursuing intentional wellness and recovery, I have come across some daily affirmations, reflections, devotions, and meditations that I have placed in my toolbox to help me be the me that I am meant to be. Walk with me on the recovery journey of hope, renewal, resilience, and reflection. And may you use these tools as well to be the you that you are created to be. Today is the day of my birth, March 22nd. Fair use. Strengthening my recovery meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. March 22nd. Emotional intoxication. The third identity paper examined the steep cost of surviving by hiding the vulnerable and wounded child in a prison of isolation, the high price of using the myriad methods we employ to protect the vulnerable self by staying emotionally intoxicated and numb. BRB, Big Red Book, 628. When we came to ACA, many of us had experience with other programs that dealt with sobriety. We may have even heard about emotional sobriety before, but when we learned it was the focus of this program, it really got our attention. We knew we felt out of control a lot of the time, unable to think clearly. Our minds went 100 miles an hour, and many of us had trouble turning them off at night to go to sleep. We couldn't sit still with our feelings. We used activities as a drug to numb ourselves when we were uneasy. Understanding that we were dealing with emotional intoxication made sense, and we were tired of living that way. Our journey to free ourselves helps us to come out of isolation and relate to others who are finding success. We work the steps and reach out to our higher power and our fellow traveler for help. We practice sitting still with our feelings and let it be okay. We ask our loving parent to speak words of encouragement to our vulnerable self so that we don't get busy to avoid our feelings. We no longer have to walk around numb. We can make it. And I will say that again. We can make it. The affirmation reads, "On this day, I will remember that being alive comes with feelings, and my feelings are all okay. I am entitled to a rich life of emotional sobriety." Today, Emotions Anonymous, March 22nd. Reflection for today. When I first started to work the 12 steps, I felt when I got to the 12th step, my life would be manageable and I would not be powerless. I did get to step 12, and many parts of my life became manageable, but I am still as powerless as when I first started. My higher power is making today manageable, not my power. The word manage means to control, to take charge of, to succeed in accomplishing. Am I willing to admit I can't control, take charge of, or succeed in my life by myself? To admit I am powerless over my emotions is one thing, but to admit I can't manage my own life sounds hopeless and helpless. But there is help and hope with a higher power as my manager. Meditation for today. Help me to see what areas of my life I am still trying to manage and help me turn them over to you. Today I will remember my higher power is a better manager than I am. Just for today, daily meditations for recovering addicts. March 22nd. The principle of self support. In our addiction, we were dependent upon people, places, and things. We looked to them to support us and supply the things we found lacking in ourselves. Basic text, page 70 to 71. In the animal kingdom, there is a creature that thrives on others. It is called a leech. It attaches itself to people and takes what it needs. When one victim brushes the leech off, it simply goes to the next. In our act of addiction, we behaved similarly. We drained our families, our friends, and our communities. Consciously or unconsciously, we sought to get something for nothing from virtually everyone we encountered. When we saw the basket passed at our first meeting, we may have thought, self support? Now, what kind of odd notion is this? As we watched, we noticed something. These self supporting addicts were free. By paying their own way, they had earned the privilege of making their own decisions. By applying the principle of self support in our personal lives, we gain for ourselves the same kind of freedom. No longer does anyone have the right to tell us where to live because we pay our own rent. We can eat, wear, or drive whatever we choose because we provide it for ourselves. Unlike the leech, we don't have to depend on others for our sustenance. The more responsibility we assume, the more freedom we'll gain. Just for today, there are no limits to the freedom I can earn by supporting myself. I will accept personal responsibility and pay my own way today. Courage to change, one day at a time in Al Anon. March 22nd. In order to survive in the contradictory and explosive world of alcoholism, many of us learned to ignore our feelings. We lost touch with ourselves without even knowing it. For example, although I pointed an accusing finger at the alcoholics in my life for deserting me in times of need, I wasn't a very good friend to myself. In my fear and confusion, I walked away from the little child in me who lived simply, who cried when the cat died and then let it go, who could appreciate a sunset and not want to own it, and who lived one day at a time. Recovery does not mean that I have to become a different person. It means I need to start being myself again. The lessons I'm learning in Al Anon are lessons I already know. I just need to remember. Today's reminder: there is an innocence within me that already knows how to trust my higher power, to cherish life while holding it tightly, to live fully and simply in the present moment. I will allow that part of myself to come forward and nourish me as I continue on this journey. There is a quote by Pablo Picasso, and it reads, "It takes one a long time to become young." Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. March 22nd. No more struggle. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 84. When AA found me, I thought I was in for a struggle and that AA might provide the strength I needed to beat alcohol. Victorious in that fight, who knows that other battles I could win? I would need to be strong, though. All my previous experience with life proved that. Today I do not have to struggle or exert my will. If I take those 12 steps and let my higher power do the work, my alcohol problem disappears all by itself. My living problems also cease to be struggles. I just have to ask whether acceptance or change is required. It is not my will, but His that needs doing. DHB, Devotion Health and Beauty Recovery Network. Please share, subscribe, like, and again, most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time.